Alright guys, welcome back to the 144th episode of this review series where I review everything in Fortnite Save the World. And this isn't going to be a typical episode of this review series where I go over a certain hero or weapon, because in this video, I'm going to be going over the fastest way to take out the Canny Storm King. And the reason you would want to do that is to grind it, because Canny Storm King is actually the fastest way to get reperk and gold. And I've heard before that the fastest way to get gold is in dungeons, but dungeons usually take me about 5 minutes, and it would take longer with the load times, whereas in the Canny Storm King, it takes me 5 minutes with the load times included, so it's way faster that way. But like if you do the dungeons in like 2 minutes, then that is the faster way. But then for reperk, Canny Storm King is faster because it takes only 5 minutes and you get between 50 and 300 reperk. Whereas in the 4 times missions I do, it gets a little over 200 reperk, and those take 20 minutes or longer, where in the Canny Storm King it takes 5 minutes. And then for evolution material, it does give them, but it's not really that good at all. So I'd say just stick to the 4 times missions when trying to get evolution materials. But for reperk and gold, this is the best way, and make sure you stay on the video for the best weapons and the best hero loadout. So firstly, let's go over the perks of the weapon I used to take out the crystals, which is the bundle bus. And I went for a crit build, which means 1 crit rating and as much crit damage as you can possibly put on the weapon. So for the first perk, I have a crit rating. For the second perk, I have a reload speed. You can also put a damage, either one will work. And then for a third perk, or the element, the only 2 that you need to look at is either energy or physical, because if you only use a bundle bus on the Storm King, then choose physical, because all the enemies in there and the Storm King are all physical. But if you use it in normal missions like me, then you could choose energy, because I'm mainly going against elemental enemies and energy is good against them. And then for the 4th perk, we got crit damage, and for the 5th perk, we got crit damage. And then for the last, or the special perk, landing 5 hits in a row on a single target causes a small explosion, damaging enemies within 0.5 tiles of the target for 70% damage. And now for the weapon I'm using for the horns. That weapon is the Storm King's Ravager, and the build I put is a crit build, so that means 1 crit rating and as much crit damage as you can possibly put on the weapon. So for our first perk, or the special perk, hitting an enemy empowers Storm Wave to shoot a piercing wave of energy, dealing 245% of weapon damage, stacks up to 7 times, increasing the width of the wave with each stack. All stacks are removed on using Storm Wave or switching weapons. And then for the second perk, we got crit damage. For the third perk, we got crit damage. And then for the 4th perk, or the element, again, if you're using this in normal missions, choose energy, because their energy is good against elemental enemies. But if you're using this only for the Storm King, then choose physical, because all the enemies in there are all physical. And then for the 5th perk, we got attack speed. And for the 6th perk, we got crit damage. And anyway, now for the hero loadout. For the commander, I'm using Ted, and what he has is first covenant A+, while going commando is active, increases crit rating by 10 and crit damage by 100%. In addition, eliminating 5 enemies heals you and nearby allies for 97 base health. And then the team perk, we got Totally Rockin' Out. Rockin' Riff also increases crit rating by 160, decaying over 8 seconds, and heals 73.75 base health. Requires 2 Totally Rad heroes. Then for a support team, we got Subwafers from Maiden Stage Quinn. Harvesting metal objects has a 32% chance to give Subwafers. Consuming Subwafers grants Rockin' Riff, which increases damage by 50% and melee attack speed by 32%, decaying over 8 seconds. And then we got Battle Beat from Breakbeat Wildcat. Eliminating 10 enemies in 9 seconds grants Rockin' Riff, which increased damage by 50% and melee attack speed by 32%, decaying over 8 seconds. Leadership from Colonel Wildcat decreases Warcry cooldown by 17%. Assault crit damage from Tactical Assault Sledgehammer increases assault and SMG critical damage by 75%. SMG bonus does not stack with Make It Count. And then lastly, Anatomy Lessons from Whiteout Fiona increases crit rating of swords, axes, and scythes by 15. And then also 2 gadgets that you might want is the turrets, because you can put them up whenever you're fighting the Storm King on the last phase to do a bit of extra damage. And also Adrenaline Rush, because I personally don't use this because I don't ever get low in the Storm King fight, but if you are a lower level or you just like take a lot of damage, then Adrenaline Rush will be good for keeping your health up. And anyway, once you load in, you're going to take this route that I do, where you go to the right, you break the shopping cart, you break the parking meter, and then you go over to the left, and you break the playground thing, and then you go over back to the right, you build up, and you break the stop sign and the police car, and that should get you your wafers for your Rock and Rift. But if it doesn't, then you could come over to this building to the left once you load in, and it's actually all made out of metal except for the floor, so you could try to break that down and get your wafers. And if you don't by then it's alright. It's just you won't be the fastest you can be when breaking the horn. And now for the crystal phase, if you're quick enough with spraying down the crystals with your bundle bus, then enemies won't spawn until the horn phase. So if you take them out quick enough, you should be good on your health until then. And then once you take out 3 crystals, he'll go down and enemies will start spawning. And before I build up to the horn, I actually I look around if there's any mist monsters, because after you kill 50 mist monsters, you get 100 extra reperk, and that's not very much for how many mist monsters you gotta kill, but it does help a little bit. So then once I kill the mist monsters, or if I see that there is none, I build up by putting down 4 ramps and then put 4 floors above them, so that I have a bit of extra structural support, and also they would have to break one of the floors to get up to me. And then when I'm building up to the horn, if I put another ramp, I put a floor above that, so then whenever if they follow me, then they would have to break more before they actually get to me while I'm taking out the horn. And then once I'm at the horn, I pop a war cry, I eat a wafer, and I switch to my sword, and I just annihilate that horn. Because with the extra crit rating from Whiteout Fiona and the Totally Rockin' Out, you make quick work of the horn. And then once it's down, you do the same thing. The enemies despawn once you break the horn, so you'll be good until you break the next 3 crystals. Then more enemies will spawn, and you'll just go through the same thing where you look for a mist monster, take them out if there is any, and then build the 4 stairs like I did before, and then 4 floors above them. And then there's a little bit something different you'll do for this horn, and that's you're gonna put up your turrets before you actually pop the war cry and eat the wafer. So then whenever you break the horn on the last phase, you'll be doing a little bit of extra damage with the turrets. So then once this horn is broken, you're gonna instantly pull out your minigun, and with Ted, your minigun gets extra crit rating and crit damage, so you should take him out in the last phase pretty easily. Then you're gonna pick up your caches and try to get out of the mission and get into another Storm King as quick as possible to get the most amount of reperk and gold as you can for how much time you're spending. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because I do these review videos where I review everything in Fortnite Save the World 3 times a day. And also like, comment, and share so that more people can see my videos. But anyway guys, I'll see you next time.